There's one reason I put you in the friend zone. Just one, and it has nothing to do with what you think. It wasn't your personality. It wasn't your looks. It wasn't your timing or your approach or anything you did wrong. The reason was simpler and more devastating than any of that. And when you understand it, everything will finally make sense. I'm going to show you the exact reason why women like me choose friendship over love with good men. It's not what the dating coaches tell you. It's not what your friends think. It's not even what I told myself at the time. By the end of this, you'll understand the one truth that explains everything. What it wasn't? Part 1. You were everything I said I wanted in a man. Kind, thoughtful, funny, intelligent, emotionally available. You listened when I talked. You remembered details about my life. You asked about my day and actually cared about the answer. You were the type of man I described to my therapist when she asked what I was looking for. You were the type of man I complained about not being able to find. And when you were right in front of me, offering me everything I claimed to want, I called you my best friend. Week 2, you bring me soup when I'm sick without me asking. I feel grateful and nothing else. Month 1, you remember my presentation at work and text me good luck. I smile and think, he's so sweet. Not, he's so attractive. Month 2, my friends ask if we're dating. I laugh and say, no, we're just friends. The word just comes out automatically. Here's what psychology calls the compatibility paradox. Sometimes the person who's perfect for us on paper feels wrong in our heart. It wasn't that you were boring, you were safe. It wasn't that you were predictable, you were consistent. It wasn't that you were too nice, you were exactly what I should have wanted. But here's what I couldn't understand about myself. What it wasn't? Part 2. You were attractive. Let me be clear about that. I found you physically appealing. I noticed when you got a haircut. I liked the way you dressed. I thought you were handsome. But attraction and desire are two different things. I could see that you were good looking the same way I could see that a painting was beautiful. Objectively, appreciatively, but without wanting to possess it. Month 3, you hug me goodbye after dinner, and I notice you smell good. I think he's attractive, but I don't think I want him. Month 4, we're watching a movie and you're sitting close to me. I'm comfortable, but not electrified. Month 5, you almost kiss me after a party. I turn my cheek and pretend I don't notice. My heart doesn't race from desire. It races from panic. This is what psychology calls aesthetic attraction versus romantic attraction. I could see your appeal without feeling drawn to you. The problem wasn't that I didn't find you attractive. The problem was that I found you attractive in the wrong way, like appreciating art instead of wanting to create it with you. But here's what really wasn't the issue. What it wasn't, part 3. Your timing was actually perfect. I was single. I was ready for a relationship. I was tired of dating people who didn't care about me. You showed up exactly when I needed someone stable and kind. And your efforts were everything a woman should want. You planned thoughtful dates. You texted consistently, but not obsessively. You respected my boundaries while making your interest clear. You did everything the dating advice tells men to do. Month 6, you take me to that restaurant I mentioned wanting to try 3 weeks ago. I'm impressed by your thoughtfulness. I should feel lucky. Instead, I feel obligated. My chest feels tight when you smile at me expectantly. Month 7, you surprise me with tickets to see my favorite band. I hug you and say thank you, but I wish I felt more excited than grateful. I can't sleep that night, feeling guilty about my lack of enthusiasm. Month 8, you tell me you have feelings for me. You're nervous and sweet and honest. I watch you being vulnerable and I feel protective, not passionate. My hands shake as I tell you I value our friendship too much to risk it. Psychology calls this the effort-attraction disconnect, when someone's investment doesn't create reciprocal romantic feelings. Your timing was right. Your efforts were perfect. Your approach was textbook, but none of that could create what wasn't there. And what wasn't there wasn't your fault. If you're watching this because you've been friend-zoned by someone who called you perfect, hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to reveal is the real reason it happened. But here's what the actual reason was. The exact reason? You felt safe and I was addicted to uncertainty. That's it. That's the entire reason. You offered me security, consistency, and peace. And I was a woman who had learned to associate love with chaos, passion with pain, and connection with crisis. You wanted to build something stable with me. I was unconsciously drawn to someone who would keep me guessing. Month 9, I meet someone at a coffee shop who barely looks at me. My heart pounds. I think about them for 3 days. Month 10, you plan a romantic weekend getaway. I feel suffocated by the certainty of your affection. I make up an excuse to cancel and spend the weekend analyzing why I feel trapped. Month 11, the person from the coffee shop texts me at 2 a.m. I respond immediately. When you text me good morning every day at 8 a.m., I sometimes don't respond until noon. My stomach twists with guilt every time. Here's what psychology calls trauma bonding. When dysfunction feels more familiar than health because it matches our internal emotional patterns. You represented everything my logical mind wanted: stability, kindness, reliability, genuine love. But my nervous system had been programmed to recognize love as something that hurt, something uncertain, something I had to fight for. Your love felt too easy, too available, too safe, and I had been conditioned to believe that if it didn't hurt a little, it wasn't real. But here's why safety felt so wrong, why safety felt dangerous. I put you in the friend zone because loving you would have required me to heal, and I wasn't ready to heal. Choosing you would have meant choosing a different version of myself, a healthier version, a version that believed she deserved gentle love. Choosing someone chaotic meant I could stay broken without having to acknowledge it. You represented growth, change, and healing that felt too overwhelming to face. Month 12. I realize I'm more excited about people who don't text me back than I am about you, who text me every day. I throw up after this realization hits me. Month 15. I start therapy and understand that I'm attracted to unavailability because it feels familiar. I cry for 43 minutes in my car after the session. Month 18. I finally admit to myself that I friend-zoned you because your love threatened the story I told myself about what I deserved. My therapist asks me to write you a letter I'll never send. My entire body trembles as I write the words I could never say. This is what psychology calls cognitive dissonance, when healthy love feels wrong because we've normalized dysfunction. I wasn't protecting myself from you. I was protecting myself from the possibility of being loved correctly, because being loved correctly would have meant admitting that I had been accepting the wrong kind of love for years. It would have meant facing the fact that I had trauma to heal and patterns to break. It was easier to call you a friend than to confront why I couldn't receive what you were offering. Write me in the comments if you've ever been called too good for someone. Watch my video, She Left the One Who Loved Her for the One Who Broke Her, to understand why women choose chaos over safety. Because what I'm about to tell you might change everything. And here's what this means for you, what this means for good men. The friend zone isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of someone's capacity to receive love. When a woman puts you in the friend zone despite calling you perfect, she's not lying about your perfection. She's telling the truth about her brokenness. You are too healthy for someone who is still sick. You are too stable for someone who is still healing. You are too available for someone who is still learning that love doesn't have to be earned through suffering. Here's what I wish I could have told you then. It's not that you're not enough. It's that I'm not ready for enough. You deserve someone who can receive your love without needing it to come with drama first. The women who choose chaos over your consistency aren't choosing better men. They're choosing familiar dysfunction over unfamiliar health. And that has nothing to do with your value and everything to do with their healing journey. Some women need to learn the hard way that love isn't supposed to hurt before they can appreciate love that doesn't. You were offering graduate-level love to someone who was still in elementary school when it came to receiving it. And here's the truth that might hurt, but will also set you free. The friend zone isn't where good men go to die. It's where good men discover they're too advanced for women who are still learning what love should feel like. I friend-zoned you because your love was medicine, and I was still addicted to poison. Not because poison felt better, but because it felt normal. Here's what I know now that I didn't know then. You weren't the wrong person. You were the right person at the wrong time in my healing journey. And maybe that's the most honest thing I can tell you about why good men get friend-zoned. It's not about what you lack. It's about what we're not ready to receive. Do I regret friend-zoning you? Every day. Do I understand why I did it? Finally, yes. Do I think you should wait for broken women to heal? That's a question I'm still learning to answer. If you're currently in the friend zone with someone who calls you perfect, damn, maybe she's not rejecting you. Maybe she's rejecting the idea that she deserves to be loved without earning it through pain. And maybe she's also rejecting parts of herself she's not ready to face. If you want to understand more about why women like me say, just friends, but still need your energy, watch my video. She says just friends, but still needs your energy. That video will show you exactly what we're really protecting when we keep good men at arm's length.